Hello, welcome, and welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey. So, it's April. These messages really are, kind of whenever you see them, but I do tend to do them at least monthly. So this month we're using the Work Your Light Oracle deck, and then we're using the Wandering Moon Tarot for additional information. We'll get an Oracle card for the overall vibe, and then of course pull 6 tarot cards and see what the vibe is. I have my little bowl here of all of the zodiac, all of the human design profile numbers. I'm just gonna pick one. We have the 4, 6. This is actually the 3rd time I am attempting to do this reading for you guys. So the first time I started and I was talking for a couple minutes before I realized that it wasn't recording. And then the second time, it was just like all of a sudden, in the middle of a sentence, I was just like, no. And I stopped and started over. So anyway, just very interesting. Like, anytime I make a decision to sit down and do a reading, anything that kind of starts happening after that, I feel is part of the message. And I'll sit here for, a few minutes and shuffle both of the decks just to get everybody warmed up, get, centered, get grounded. And so it's just kind of interesting. Anytime that happens, that like start and stop thing, I wonder if that's something that you're experiencing in your life where, same with when I thought the video, like I started, and I pressed the button, but whatever, I don't know what happened. But it's just like, you think you're going forward or you think you're doing something and it just either changes that fast or it's like it's immediately no. Very interesting. So before we go any further, let me just kind of stop doing everything else for a second. Maybe that's part of it, too much going on. Who knows? But if you've seen these human design profile readings before, I usually have some sort of content that I share with you about your profile, and I usually read it to you. Story time. But this time I did find an article on the Jovian Archive website, and it's an article that is written by a 2/5 projector, which I think is cool too. Like, again, right, just, somebody else's perspective. And they go over each profile line. So it's just a paragraph for each line. Obviously, you would just want to find the 2 lines in your profile. But yeah, I'll link it in the description below. So check that out if you would like. And as always, and of course, also be checking in with your strategy and authority. Like, your profile is really only one piece of the puzzle. Your strategy and authority is going to help you enter into the quote unquote correct experiences, and your profile is how you interact with those experiences and the people, energies, all of the things in them. So, is there anything else? I don't think so. I can't. If I think of anything else, I will stop everything and tell you. That's too many. We just need 1 card. for our 4-6, the opportunist role model. So we have Pleiades. Oops. Double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. A lot of blue on this card. Blue is our throat chakra, right? So we'll get into that card a little bit further. Let's just get your tarot cards out first. And that gives me an opportunity to stare at this card for a few minutes. We have the Knight of Wands, Four of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, interesting. That is interesting. King of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, the High Priestess. Wow. And then the Tower. The Tower at the bottom of the deck. 10 of Pentacles, or 10 of something. 10 of Cups. Okay. Okay. I definitely want to read from the book on this Pleiades card. It says, the Pleiadians are a group of star beings dedicating to raising the vibration of the planet and sharing new consciousness through creations and technology. They have been incarnating on Earth since near the beginning of humanity. You are a soul who has a double mission, to grow at a soul level and to raise the vibration of the planet. If you have been called to write, speak, or channel, this is your sign to keep doing it. Your work is divinely guided. Of all the souls, Pleiadians are the chattiest, and so perhaps you have already started channeling some of this work into the third dimension. Thank you for doing your part in the great plan. Your presence and unique light is needed. There's also a work your light transmission. It says hold the card on your heart, which I know you can't do, but you can put your hands there. And you can either repeat after me or just say it in your head. I call upon Pleiadian consciousness of the highest realms and highest good of humanity to work through me. Let me be a channel for only the purest light of the essence of Source. Let me channel in a way that also serves me. Beautiful. That is clearly why there's a ton of blue on this card. Because, like I said, right, like blue is throat chakra, communication, however you are communicating, whether that's verbally or written. It's so interesting, too, that the majority of the cards that we have out here are Pentacles and Wands, fire and earth. The High Priestess is Pisces or Cancer, depending on who you ask. The High Priestess is ruled by the moon. Traditionally, the moon rules over Cancer. But again, right, I mean, it depends on who you ask. So there could be a Pisces. I almost said a Pleiadian. There could be a Pisces, there could be a Cancer involved. There doesn't have to be. Also, though, you know, I mean, Saturn just went into Pisces and is going to be there for the next, 2.5 years or so. So you might even want to see like where Pisces is in your chart. Anyway, I mean, I'm like way at the end over here. Let's start at the beginning. You know what's also interesting to me? I was staring at this like as I was shuffling, is that this pillar of light here, hopefully you can see that. It almost looks exactly like this wand. So I don't know. it just caught my eye, so I'm mentioning it. But, wands talk about action, communication. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. Oh my God. I love when stuff like that happens. So, action, communication, it's creativity, it's our passion, it's our desires. How are we communicating those things? What actions are we taking towards those things? It is also information and can be technology, which is what this card was also talking about. It's either giving information or getting it. And also how information, that's how we become wise, right? Like by trying things, we gain experience. We figure out what works, we figure out what doesn't work, what we like, what we don't like. And that's all information. And that's how we become wise, right? And especially with that 6 line that you have, the role model line, right? So the first 30 years, you would have been living as a 4-3, because the first 30 years, the 6 line acts as a 3rd line, which is about trial and error. It can be a bit chaotic and dismantling a little bit. It doesn't necessarily have to be your experience that way, but 6th lines generally do have a tougher go at those earlier parts of their lives, because it's like, you have to go through it. You have to go through the experience in order to understand it. And then, the second portion of your life after your first Saturn return, you go up on the roof and become more observant. You start unpacking things again, like what stays, what goes, maybe settling down a bit, really kind of grounding into what you want to do. And then after 50 or around like your second Saturn return, you come off of the roof and are able to, share that wisdom and the observations. I mean, obviously you can, that's available before coming off of the roof, right? It's not like you have to wait until you're like in your 50s. But that middle portion of your life is like there to allow you the space to unpack, to heal, to, again, right? Like figure out what stays, figure out what goes. So it's interesting that I even mentioned, Saturn being in Pisces over here, because if your natal Saturn is in Pisces, then you would be going into a Saturn return, whether that would be your first Saturn return or your second. So that might resonate for some of you. But I mean, we still haven't even really talked about this Knight of I'm just gonna go backwards apparently in this reading, which is fine, right? I mean, there really are no rules. We'll just go all over the place. But the Knight of Wands, the Knights are the ones that are out there doing, right? They're the ones that are out there like in battle and, like training and all of that stuff, front line type of stuff, right? And the Knight of Wands is, very enthusiastic. There's like a playful element to it, maybe even a bit arrogant, but also something about the Knight of Wands is that there's like this burst of energy, and then it like smolders like kind of quickly. Like, you think about a match where, you light it and it has this like burst of flame, but it only lasts for a few seconds, right? Before you have to put it out. Otherwise you're going to burn your finger. And so it's interesting that it's even paired with a feather, because, like I start thinking about like fanning a flame, right? Like, pumping oxygen into a fire. And that could be in a place where you are like, having to pump oxygen into your own fire. Maybe it's even like more than one fire. And also, with it being paired with the King of Pentacles, Pentacles have to do with our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it, how we invest it. It's our time, right? Like, how are we giving or investing our time? How are we giving ourselves time? It's our physical body, our health. It's literally anything in the 3D. And it's earth, right? Like I was saying before. So it's being grounded and practical and steady. And of course, with it being a king, that's a highest expression of the suit, right? So this is somebody who is a leader. There could be some sort of promotion coming in for you. You could be going for some sort of promotion. You could be attempting to be some sort of leader. And even, like with this Pleiades card, double mission, like this could be something that the fire that you are trying to fan is something that has to do with, being a leader of something or creating something that is not yet available, at least in the capacity that you want to create it from. And also too, because I was saying with the Knight of Wands, like these short bursts of energy, it's like you could be making big strides quickly, but then need to rest or stop for a little while for whatever reason. But it's like, this is the goal with the King of Pentacles, or this is like what you have your sight set on. So again, right, it's like your actions aligning with the goal is how this feels. And then we have the Four of Pentacles with the Nine of Pentacles. And it's interesting because in the Four of Pentacles, their hand is closed. In the Nine of Pentacles, it's open. The Four of Pentacles talks about holding on to something too tight. There's a bit of a greedy aspect with the Four of Pentacles too, because it's kind of that mindset that, I have enough. I'm comfortable where I'm at, and I don't want to give anything up because, that scarcity mindset that comes with the Five of Pentacles, that, if I release control a little bit, then it's just going to go out of control. And that's why, like their hand is closed. So it's like you prevent yourself from investing like in yourself in that energy. And, even when we just think of like body language, right? Like being closed, there's no opportunity for like any energy to get in. Right? And like this could even be, since it's coming after this pairing, there could have been an idea or something that you have been working towards for a while that you don't want to give up to a certain degree, or you don't want to change, or again, right, there's like no wiggle room. Like, this is what I had intended. This was my expectation. And it really kind of seems like, especially like with this Pleiades card, and, I was just looking at these people that are hovering above Earth. I'm assuming that's Earth. There could be something that is or has evolved. And maybe it's just like you're not like your eyes are closed. You're not looking at it that way. You're not allowing yourself to see it that way. That could also be because maybe it hasn't been made very clear to you yet. It's like, well, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, but it's like just opening your mind a little bit. And like I said, it's interesting that it's paired with the Nine of Pentacles because this hand is open. And they're reaching for this one star here. There's 8 other stars on their hand. The 8 of Pentacles talks about practice, like focusing your energy on a thing, and repeatedly doing it in order to become like proficient in it. There's something that has already been done. Like you've already done the work on a big portion of this. And by like opening your hand, obviously, metaphorically speaking, there's this missing piece to the puzzle here. And the 9 of Pentacles talks about financial freedom. There's an independence aspect to it, but also individual success. 9s are all about when we embody the energy ourselves. Like we can feel the energy ourselves. So again, right, with the 9 of Pentacles, like we got us where we are, right? Like we attribute our success to ourselves. The work that you have done so far, and you would have done a lot of work with the 8 of Pentacles on the hand here. You're starting to see the fruits of that labor pay off with the 9 of Pentacles. And like I said, this could be the missing piece of the puzzle. Even like some came to mind, that secret passageway that you discover. Like, happens because, you release your grip a little bit. And I also love how on this Queen of Wands, so we have the Knight of Wands. The hand is closed on the 4 of Pentacles. And then in the Queen of Wands, the hand is open and they're holding the wand. I think there's something to that. Like this is a journey, because it's like, if you marry these two, it becomes the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands, again, right, with queens being, for me anyway, queens are when we embody the energy of the suit ourselves. Like we have to recognize it and embody that energy ourselves before we can share it with other people and even explain or even be that role model, right? So the Queen of Wands is confident. They know the actions that they want and are going to take. There's, like a clarity in the path forward. Being able to clearly communicate what your passion is about. Being able to clearly communicate your creativity, or even honing in on your creative medium, whatever that is, right? Like if that is writing, if it's art, if it is, some level of speaking. Going back to all of this blue on this card. Because, the Knight is going to be the thing that tries different things, right? The Queen is going to be the one that, like, people recognize her for it. Like there's like a social aspect to it. It could have something to do with social media because, like I said, wands have to do with technology also. So it could have something to do with social media. And then the High Priestess. Eyes open, right? The moon is at the third eye. High Priestess also talks about secrets, but it's like, the secrets that are discovering something new about yourself that you didn't know prior, or even discovering a courage and bravery that even strength are like fire, right? All of those are like motivation There's that, like, what, there was that movie that was like, it just takes 20 seconds of courage to like change your life, right? The high priestess is a number 2 card. So, it's kind of at the beginning of the fool's journey. We start with the fool, we go to the magician, then the high priestess. And again, right, like there's this self-discovery. I always see the high priestess as being our like direct connection to our star player. And for me, I see star player as being my higher self, but it could be source, it could be divine, it could be God. If you connect to a higher power, if you don't, then it would be full connection with your intuition. We all have it. But I wanted to, wasn't there something? Yes. Let me be a channel for only the purest light of the essence of source. That's that. There's clearly something going on between the Knight of Wands and the King of Pentacles. It could even be recognized, because of course, like conditioning and capitalism, where anytime we think about doing a thing, right? Like anytime we think about like acting on our passions or, wanting to pursue something that really lights us up, there's this immediate kind of like thought in the back of our head about, like how far can I take this? Can it be monetized? Can I make a living off of it? Blah, 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 right? I feel like there's a lot of that in like the spirituality community, which maybe an unpopular opinion, but I can't stand that, where it's like all of a sudden everything becomes a course, and how can you make 20 grand as a spiritual teacher, and 20 grand a month being a spiritual teacher off of courses and stuff. And I'm not saying, of course everybody has their own path, by all means do that. But it's like, what's the intention behind that? Is that the goal? And there's nothing wrong with that per se. It's just like, what is the intention behind that? And that's just kind of like what I started feeling like about that. And if the focus has been on, how can I build this thing, it's like maybe getting a little bit too far ahead, where the focus right now at least should be releasing, releasing that grip a little bit, allowing this nugget of juiciness to come in with a 9 of Pentacles. And then it's like, this like transformation thing happens over here. And this almost feels like being divinely guided. And I know it mentioned that in the book too. And that's also not to say that, I also don't think that every spiritual teacher, person, whoever should be, poor or live in poverty or, whatever. I'm just saying that if the intention is to, if your market strategy is how can you make 20 grand a month, same as me, then it's like, are you focusing on the message? Or are you focusing on how much money you can make? Are you trying to uplift humanity and, change consciousness and help people expand their own level of consciousness and have their own ascensions and healings and all of that? Or are you focused on making 20 grand a month or whatever the number is, right? You get my point. So then we have the Tower at the bottom of the deck, which is also fire. I believe it's Mars, which is connected to Aries. But Mars is in Cancer right now. So you might want to even see where Cancer is in your chart, because wherever Mars is, you might be feeling a bit pissed. Because Mars, like can have that effect where it's pushing, and it feels, I don't know what the word is, like rough. You also might even want to take a look at what your design Mars placement is. Mine is 36, gate 36 in the 4th line, which is the gate of fucking crisis, excuse my language. Right here. I don't want to talk about it, but because in human design, your design Mars placement has to do with wounding. So again, you might just want to read a little bit about that gate. But the Tower is sudden upheaval, sudden change. And the Tower is only going to take out or change the things that are no longer serving you. It can feel a bit uncomfy, but also, like, I'm just hearing in my head, it's like, you may not either feel it as uncomfortable, or it's like this other stuff that's going on is also a result of the Tower card. So you might just be feeling discomfort in your life, and especially around this 4 of Pentacles and 9 of Pentacles energy. Like if you are in the midst of like gripping onto something. And then we have the 10 of Cups right behind that, which is the Minor Arcana card to the Sun card. It's everybody's cup is full. It's happy home, happy life. There's also mountains on here, so it could be either this has been a journey, or this could be a start of a new journey. We have the 2 of Pentacles, which is balance, juggling different responsibilities, but I mean, you're doing it, There could be 2 options that pop up here, or you could be narrowing it down to 2 from 4. Very interesting. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your card. Oh my gosh. And I've been trying to get better at this, and I have not been doing a good job at it, because then I just get like lost in the reading and talking to you guys, and I like forget to mention, if you haven't liked the video already, and if you've made it this far, thank you, seriously. But if you haven't done so already, I would love if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, even if it's just an emoji or emojis. I love emojis. But my intention, my energy is focused on growing this beautiful community and getting on the YouTube algorithm train. And I can't do that without you. So any help with that is greatly appreciated. And all right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.